Hello, everybody. Kelley Tenny here, founder of the Women Who AI Summit. And in this session, we are here with the amazing Marki Lemons Ryhal. I am fangirling over Marki because if you haven't been following her in the space of AI, she is one to keep an eye on. And Marki, I think I shared off camera that I've been following you for quite some time, and you are just making waves in the world of AI. And I think more importantly, just as a female leader in this space, you are just getting after it and doing so many amazing things. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. I am elated to be here today. I think AI is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I would agree, and I think most of our viewers would agree as well. And for those of you that don't know Marki is one of 100 speakers selected out of over 1,300 to speak at the Realtor Conference and Expo 10 times, both face to face and virtually, with high program evaluations and an Inman closing keynote speaker. Marki, I know that you have a lot of background in real estate, from being a licensed managing broker, realtor, an avid volunteer, a major investor. You're part of the federal political coordinator, which I feel like you're off jaunting on an airplane, right? Doing something in that role right after we are done. Uh,
Yes.
yes, 30 times published author, 6-time international bestselling author, and all the things. And you hold a Bachelor of Science in Management from Chicago State University, a Master's in Business Administration from St. Xavier University, and 64 real estate related licenses and certificates. Am I right with that?
Yes.
64?
64 real estate related licenses, certifications, and designations. I believe in education. And I think one of the reasons when I came into real estate, I came in because of the low barrier to entry. And quickly I realized that the pre-license course doesn't teach us how to sell real estate. And I had to become not just a lifelong learner, but an active lifelong learner. So I'm committed to learning something new every single day.
I love that. And something that I hear when speaking to people that are in the real estate industry is that is their biggest pain point. When I read about people who have their real estate license who haven't been ever, able to leverage it and find success in that field, the biggest thing that I hear about is I prepared for the test, I took the test, and then I was like a little duck in the pond looking for someone to guide me, and there really isn't that lack, there's that lack of guidance, and it's like, well, what do I do now? And so I love that, one of your values is education, and to me that really explains a lot about what you're doing, not only for the real estate industry but with AI. So that being said, will you share a little bit about your own journey to discovering AI and what you're doing with it now?
Yes. And I want to go back to say one thing, Kelly. A lot of people do not realize that the pre license course does not teach them how to sell real estate. And it's generally not just in our industry, it's in a lot of licensing industries. It is always about consumer protection. So once we get here, we forget that we're entrepreneurs and that we essentially need a sales and marketing department. I live by, I call them Marki-isms. A lot of people call them Marki-isms. I believe that closed mouths don't get fed and secret agents don't get found. And I am not an early adapter of AI, but I am an early adapter of social media and technology. And so in 2006, I started using technology. I was anti technology, okay? And I was reading then the 2006 profile of buyers and sellers from the National Association of Realtors. And it told me that we had seen a 78% increase since 1995 in consumers using the internet in a search for real estate. And instantly I thought to myself, instantly I did a Google search of my name and realized it came up less than 10 times. And I said, oh, people can't find me on the internet. It's my responsibility in sales and marketing to do something about that. So I started leveraging social media. And in 2012, I decided that that would be my sole purpose, right? Social media and technology for the purpose of lead generation. The more leads we have, the more money we make in our industry. But I believe the more leads you generate in any profession, if you're self employed, especially in a B2C industry, right? And it could be B2C or B2B, the more opportunities you have. And so I come home every December. I spend about 100 nights on the road per year working for real estate associations, franchises, title companies, banks, and MLSs. And last December, when I came home, so this would be December of 2022, even though we're in 2024, and I'm seeing Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm seeing Charlene Johnson, and they're talking about ChatGPT. So I was like, oh, let me go see what this is all about because they're two people who I follow and admire. I
Mhm.
am among the first 2 million people to use ChatGPT. And within 24 hours of me using it, I decided that it was the greatest business tool I had ever used. Now, even though I have a master's degree in business administration and I've been teaching on the collegiate level since 1995, I need to let people know I'm a proud Chicago fifth generation entrepreneur. My family this year celebrates 70 years in business. We're Chicago's second oldest Black restaurant. My grandfather has been inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and I've been gainfully self employed since the tender age of 10. And so it's a business tool. And instantly, I applied it to every business I've ever owned, whether it was the hospitality industry, and I'm thinking about conversion of any of our recipes, or the fact that maybe pork might not be in vogue as much now. So, how can you substitute? How can we reduce our cost? How do we come up with additional barbecue related content? So,
Mhm.
I'm applying it not just in my mind to the world of real estate. I've applied it to every area of every business. And so at first it was, let me do everything I can do humanly possible for free, right?
Right.
And then probably 7 days in, I'm like, oh my God, I don't ever want to live without this tool in my life. I don't care what it costs per
Mhm.
month. I'm
Mhm.
getting a paid subscription. But for me, it was take a deep breath. Go back and look at your standard operating procedures. How do we shore our businesses up? And now, after a year, my focus is content creation for the purpose of lead generation to earn more money. Real, to me, simple,
Mhm.
niched inside of a niche. And this year, we're focused on entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship, and so we have rebranded and we call it Realpreneurs. We came up with our own word, our own definition, but it's real estate entrepreneurs leveraging AI.
I love that. And, you know, it's funny that you say you're not an early adopter, but I do believe anybody that's been using it for a year effectively in their business, I think is an early adopter because things have been changing so much. And I think there's a big learning curve around how, especially entrepreneurs, have been using ChatGPT. You know, it's really difficult to kind of like get all the white noise out and just focus on who is really, you know, showing us things and teaching us things that can allow us to leverage AI. And, you know, I want to ask you, whether or not real estate or just entrepreneurship, when you talk about sales and marketing, right? One of the biggest things I think that allows us to stand apart and to really build those relationships with the leads that we bring in is that human element. So, when you work with AI, how do you ensure that that human element really remains central when it comes to your content creation?
Well, when I start thinking about content creation, I want to go back to the fact that I've always known that I need to be like a chameleon. So in the sales process, it's not about me, it's 100% about the consumer. And we need to identify who our target audience is. So my target audience across every platform is 80% female, number one age bracket 45 to 54. And before AI, I was strategically reaching out to 8 people by 8 a.m. based on their Ford, their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams, and updating the customer relationship management system to allow me to create rapport around what's important to them because they just told us their information.
Mm.
Well, when we bring AI into that process and you use tools like Humantic.ai, not only do I know what's important to them, but I also identify what their disc is, what their personality is. and tag your customer relationship management system based on their personality. So instead of just having one generic email, we have multiple emails, but we're sending them based on the tag. Well, we're sending them based on your target audience, but
Mhm,
now we're changing the tone to that person's tone. So an example would be I am a very high D and I like things to be very quick and to the point. So
mhm,
the person who butters me up to try to sell me, I'm instantly going to probably find annoying. I like people to get to the point. And what I've noticed is if you are the person who butters every single time, your message is going to be put to the end of the messages of the day because I have to take the time to sit down to read through everything versus the person who keeps it real short and simple, tell
mhm.
me exactly what it is that they want. They've gotten what they needed already because of my personality. And I tell everybody because I need to be like a chameleon. When you want something from me, you have to communicate with me in my preferred communication style. But what I know to be a fact, when I want something from you, I have to communicate with you in your preferred communication style. And a lot of people, they don't know how to turn that switch on and off, but AI empowers us and tells us exactly how we need to talk to people. And if we talk to people the way in which they desire to be talked to, we can increase our sales. Go figure. You make them feel good, talk to them the way they want to be talked to, and they're more likely going to do business with you.
Mhm.
And so, with our customer relationship management, AI has allowed us to create multiple versions of the same message catered to that person's personality.
I love that, and I think that's what sets you and what the work you're doing apart from many, and I often talk to, when I give keynotes and things like that, the theme is AI won't work for most of your businesses, and it's because they're missing some of the things that you have mentioned today, which is standard of procedures, right? Organizational structure, and the ability to recognize the importance of customization. And it's not about cranking out one generic email nurture sequence. It's actually about recognizing that we have different people that we want to talk to. Like you said, they have different desires, different dreams, different communication skills. And what better way to use AI, right? Because I know you and I don't have time to sit and write 4 different emails to speak to 4 different people, but being able to leverage AI is actually what allows us to do that, and I think it's a misconception, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. A lot of people have that misconception that AI is actually, um, like, watering down the quality of content that people are creating, right? And it's general and it sounds generic and it's like, "Well, I don't know about you, but I would never have thought about writing 4 different emails to really speak to the people in my audience if I didn't have AI to do it, because I just don't have the time."
You know what? I'm in agreement with you. And I tell people the better the prompt you give, the better the response you receive. A
Mhm,
lot of people want to have that one sentence prompt that's magical. That's an unrealistic expectation. So let me put it this way. I create a lot of curriculum. I've created more classes in the past year than I likely had created over the past 5 years. And the reason is because I have a one page prompt. Okay. And in this one page prompt, the first thing is my style, my tone, my voice. Okay. And so it is paraphrasing everything on the internet to sound like me. So, one, I don't have plagiarized content. So, I'm having no plagiarism detection. Plus, I'm also having no AI detection. The
mhm,
next thing is the course writing. So, you create a lot of curriculum. A lot of people will ask it to write me a 3 hour class, but
mhm,
they're not asking it for the title. They're not asking it for the description. And I'm going to give you my magic sauce. Most course creators that are new do not understand Bloom's taxonomy. Okay.
mm, mhm,
So when my course creation prompt has Bloom's taxonomy in it, which changes the output, but it also makes that class approvable for continuing education, provided that I have all of the supporting elements, the handout, the PowerPoint, things of this nature.
mm,
And so I can tell you right now, I can write a course that sounds absolutely fabulous because I took 30 minutes to an hour to craft a one paragraph prompt. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, I don't want to take the time to write the prompt. Yeah, and then you wouldn't have 25 new classes in 1 year, right?
Right.
And so I'm able to churn these classes out faster because I took the initial time to
Mhm.
create the custom prompts to tell the system how to act in my tone. And I will let you know it sounds fabulous. The outcomes are fabulous. And a lot of people have unrealistic expectations on what they want the outcome to be based on their input. But people who want, I would say, college reading level prompts, that's not the average reading level of a person. So now you've created something because you need to be elaborate that most people can't read or digest in the first place.
Right. Right. Well, I love that, and you probably have a Markism around this, right? But, we've heard of that garbage in, garbage out, and if you don't take the time to really set up the framework and the structure, right, of what you want AI to do, then you're really not going to see those kinds of results, and, you know, I really think that it's important for people to understand that if AI isn't working, right, for the average entrepreneur, I always forget, like, we're in this AI bubble, right? And so in our bubble, it seems like so many people are using AI, right? But when you look at really who is using AI, there's a lot of people that aren't using it or they've tried to use it and they haven't gotten those good results because they're missing some of the things that you're talking about. And so, I think it's important to not only speak to that fact, but to empower people to take the time and to, train it and give it the information, the background information that you think that it needs. And I would love, Marky, for you to share, what are some bumps in the road that you think that maybe you found at first or that people who are just stepping into the world AI might encounter when it comes to just starting to really think about how do I train it? What is the information that it needs? Um, what happens when the first round of outputs isn't exactly the way you want it? What are some of your suggestions for that?
The first thing, if at first you don't succeed, try and try
Mhm.
again. So here's what I think, right? From using technology, I already knew there isn't a perfect tool. And I think that people think that this is going to be a perfect tool without issues. And that's simply not the case. But because we've worked through so many changes over what I would say, almost 20 years of using tech, I already know there's always another way to do it. So
Mhm.
when I don't get the results that I want, but I've seen someone else get the results, I'm like, oh, we're going to figure this out. Right.
Right.
And so what I like to do, especially as a mid aged woman, is I like to come home, put the mobile device down, first of all, come home, sit at my desktop with my big monitor. Why? Because I understand being a 53-year-old woman. Most of us have bifocals or readers. I need to see it, right? And so when I'm having some issues, I put the mobile device down and I'm like, oh, I'll try that when I get to my desktop so that I can have bigger monitors to be able to see exactly what it is that I'm doing. So the mobile device, even though 90% of our consumption is going to come from the palm of our hand, I need it on a bigger screen because I understand who I am. So keep trying. I'm going to recommend that we do it from our desktop. And I want us to go back to the beginning. I realize that a lot of entrepreneurs do not have business plans. Because they don't have business plans, they don't have marketing plans,
Right.
right? We have to craft a business plan. And then the business plan dictates the marketing plan. And then the marketing plan dictates what our daily actions are going to be. We're running in circles. So
Mhm.
we don't know what it is that we need. Okay. And we're not going to get the results that we need if we don't ever understand our target audience. So you keep hearing me talk about target audience. I understand my target audience and I happen to be my target audience.
Mhm.
So for me, it's weaving the story into it because if you don't have the ability to tell the story and hit the pain points, none of this matters, right? So there's a acronym we use, what's in it for them.
Mhm.
And I take everything and repurpose that content that was 100% all about me because we all think we're great And I tell it, rewrite with WIIFT to the consumer benefit, right? And
Mhm.
it takes it. And in a minute, I have it back. But if we don't leverage these tools to come back with our business plan, marketing plan, our SOP standards of procedure, then we're wasting time. And we have to do the foundational work first. If not, you're never going to see the results in which you desire. And when I think about that, it comes back to content creation for me. I know that for every $100,000 that I want to earn in this industry, I need to put out 1,000 words of value every single day. It doesn't have to just be words. A picture's worth 1,000 words. 1 minute of video content is equivalent to 1.8 million words. So every single day, I'm thinking, how am I going to solve buyer and sellers' problems in my marketplace?
Mhm.
Or how am I going to connect with them about what's important to them? That is my focus every single day. And as long as, if you go and look at compound effect,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I have all this content working for me while I sleep. So every single morning without fail, I've earned additional revenue and I have additional leads because I am very intentional on how I'm using AI. And for me, I need to create words, photos, and a video every single day that resonates with consumers for me to be able to earn more money. And I think we're confused on what content is. Do I go and have photo shoots done? Yes, but that is not content if I don't give it context
Right.
and make it of value to the consumer. And that's how I'm leveraging AI. And the most fabulous thing happened in 2023. We increased our productivity by 261% according to Grammarly. So how many words is checking on our behalf?
Mhm.
And we increased our income by 283%. And it's because we're putting out more content. And we remained profitable. Our company was 29, we had a 29% profitability last year. And here's what's interesting about that. That's because my costs are lower than my competition because I don't buy leads.
Mm. Which I imagine not just in, entrepreneurship, but in real estate, that is definitely something I think that we see is the buying of the leads or the buying of the fancy tools to generate the leads, right? And you actually are just leveraging, these AI tools, which many of which are very affordable. If you think about, Chat GPT starting off at a $20, $19 investment, that's something that I think is an affordable tool that all entrepreneurs can use regardless of where they're at in their business. So for entrepreneurs who might be starting out, who might be at that, okay, Marquis, you've sold me. I'm in. Yes, all the things. I think a lot of people know the foundation of what you're talking about is important, but maybe they just haven't really figured out how do I do it, right? Because if, like we said, if they're not using AI, the things that we're talking about seem humanly impossible, when we're talking about the amount of time that might be spent. So where would you suggest people get started?
You know what? I was reading a study the other day, and YouTube sends more traffic to ChatGPT than any other
Mm,
online tool. Um, I believe we all have a PhD, right, from YouTube University. Because these tools were new, I learned I am self trained on all things AI, and YouTube has been a solid foundation for that education and then followed by LinkedIn. And because I'm a visual learner, I love the person who has the greatest visual step by step because I'm a visual learner. And so between YouTube and LinkedIn, I would state that 60% of the education I've received have been from those two locations, taken some different online courses, but but I had a tech foundation already. And I
mm,
do believe that having a technology foundation definitely helps you to be able to visualize it. But let me say the one thing that everyone doesn't know. When I started using ChatGPT, I had just finished reading the book U Squared,
mm,
which means that I was already under the mindset that I was supposed to have a quantum leap, that I did not have to have incremental growth. So when I first used ChatGPT, it was all about how would I be able to duplicate myself and get to Marki to the second power. And my mind was open and receptive of using the tool because I could see its value and I already had the belief. I would say mindset is very important in using these tools, but know that you can have a quantum leap, that you no longer have to have incremental growth, and AI can empower you to do so.
And with that, I know that you, as part of your gift to all of the women who've registered for the summit, are giving away something that I think is maybe just the start of that quantum growth and being able to, really leverage AI. So, do you want to share what that free gift is for everyone?
That free gift is our new 135 prompt guide. But at the beginning of that prompt guide, you're going to get a voice paragraph. And we break down the value of the voice paragraph. So it isn't just you using a prompt, it is you creating your voice, your style, your tone first, and then leveraging the prompt so that the content will sound like you. So when the real version of you sound shows up, there will not be a disconnect from your online content and posting to the person that the person is meeting face to face.
I love that. And that's such, I think, a world of difference than what we've seen in the past with prompts. We get, I'm sure everybody watching this summit has seen that download my prompt guidebook, pay $17 for my 500 prompts, right? And things like that. And then they download these things, whether they're free or they're a low price investment, but they still turn up with the same crappy results of this doesn't work. It sounds generic. And so what you're offering, I think, is a really not only, unique start to your guide, but I think it's something that's so crucial, especially when we want to leverage AI and we want to do so in a way that still allows us to be authentic, which is really what we're about here, right? At the Women Who AI Summit. We want to empower women to step in, start using it, but to be able to remain in alignment with how they want to do business and make sure that their voice is still being authentically heard. So,
Kelly, can I say one thing?
please.
W- we all know that women earn less than men. I will say this, and I say it very proudly. I earn substantially more than my husband, and my husband is a locomotive engineer, so he has a fabulous job. This is a tool that empowers us as women to still be great parents, but earn our true worth. And because only 15% of adult Americans are using ChatGPT right now, I want to encourage us to use the tool so that we can get some time back, but earn what we are truly worth because it will make us more productive.
And I could not think of a better way to end this session than with that mic drop moment. So thank you so much, Marquis, for
Thank you.
joining us, for just sharing your wealth with all of the women who are part of the summit, looking to really step in a greater role with how they can use and leverage AI. So thank you, Marquis.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody else, for joining us for this amazing session. And we'll see you on the inside of the next session to come. Take care, everybody.